The president is dead set on bringing back Schedule F. This makes thousands of federal workers at will and strips away all protections. Plus, we have agencies trying to bypass the public input on regulations, and we're going to look at some federal employees ready to jump ship. Let's get into it. Back in 2020, during the first Trump administration, he created something called Schedule F. The idea was to take certain career federal jobs, reclassify them to at-will jobs. Fast forward to today, OPM is proposing a rule to bring Schedule F back to life. This rule would let agencies move policy influencing positions into this new schedule policy/career category. These jobs would still be filed on a nonpartisan basis, meaning these are not political appointees, but they wouldn't be subject to the same procedure or appeal rights that a normal career federal employee would have. This means if your boss wanted to get rid of you for any reason, they could do it, and they could do it quite quickly. OPM says this is about accountability. They argue that some federal employees use their position to push personal or political agendas. And they point to the time in 2017, 2018, allegedly, some individuals at the EPA, at the State Department, they were moving slowly. They were not going with the president's agenda. So in order to stop that into the future, they're saying this is the solution. Now, why do federal employees even have civil service protections? The private sector doesn't have it. So here are some of the reasons why it exists in the first place. It prevents political purges, shields employees from retaliation, encourages competence over connections, and supports long-term national interests. OPM's proposed rule has already racked up 12,000 open comments from the public. This is pretty significant. This shows you it has struck a nerve because on average, a regular proposed rule would get about 22 comments. These comments, they're from everyone, from lawmakers, state government, regular public citizens. Everyone is commenting on here. Now, what they're saying is it's only going to impact about 50,000 federal workers. But you and I know how this game is usually played. They start small because if the GOP could have its way, tomorrow everyone would be at will. So this is going to be seen by a lot of people as a foothold, getting a foothold in the federal workforce, creating the precedent of making individuals at will employees. But will these comments change anything? That depends because OPM usually prioritizes substance in the comment, not the number of comment, not necessarily the volume of comments. So if you're going to leave a comment on there, you can't just type in, I dislike this. This is horrible. Do not implement this. You have to have something of more substance. If this is implemented, it could potentially lead to brain drain. This could pose a public safety risk, something like that. You have to actually put thought into it when you're writing it out. But the number of comments should at the very least create more political pressure, more coverage in the media. If you look back in 2015, the EPA proposed the Clean Power Plan. This rule received 4 million public comments, many of them were negative. This is from people like coal industry stakeholders, state governments, utility companies, and people concerned about the energy cost and jobs. Regardless of this, the EPA still finalized this rule August 2015. They said it was for the long-term environmental benefit of the American public. So what ultimately ended up happening is President Trump in 2019, during his first term, he repealed this. He took it down. But this shows you that even if you have a lot of public outcry, if you have a lot of people commenting, the agency can still go ahead and do what the agency wants to do. The administration can still push it in the direction that they want. Now, what usually ends up happening is once this is closed, this one's going to be closed on Friday, and then 2 or 3 weeks later, we'll actually see if it gets implemented or not. Now let's take a look at the VA. We have over 14,000 health professionals that have already applied to the DRP. The DRP is the Deferred Resignation Program. Right now, we're on the second iteration. Some agencies are considering rolling out a third iteration. It essentially means that you get paid, you get your full benefits all the way until September 30th. In some situations, it can go all the way to the end of December if you're combining it with a VERA, if you're doing the early retirement. So in this situation, some of these people will receive approval. Other ones are not going to get approved because these are healthcare professionals. The VA needs a good chunk of the people that are trying to escape. Now, there's two main reasons that are being cited on why these healthcare professionals want to leave the VA. Number one is a toxic work environment. This could speak to the new leadership around, or it could speak to the lack of workplace flexibility when it comes to the return to office mandate. Number two is because of Schedule F. Schedule F, we were just talking about it, but this is an additional pressure that a lot of federal employees are feeling. So people here are saying, we're already thinking about the private sector. We're going to go ahead and start applying to the private sector. We're not trying to be a part of this agency any longer. Take a Veterans Crisis Line responder who said, this wasn't what I thought it was going to be. DRP or no DRP, I'm done. This guy's talking about grueling 3 a.m. shifts. He's coming into the hospital, it's pitch black outside. He's talking about micromanagement. And this is something that a lot of people are talking about. You have your supervisor or manager kind of doing the peekaboo, making sure you're in your cubicle. What are you doing? Why are you looking out the window? That type of thing. And then he's talking about work-life balance, a lack of it. And a lot of people are talking about a lack of work-life balance when it comes to the return to office mandate. He's already applying to private sector jobs because he feels that federal jobs no longer offer that stability. It doesn't exist. And if you pay attention to the news, you know what else is under threat. That is the federal benefits from the pension, civil service protections, unions, telework. It's all under threat. Another thing we have to look at is the Administrative Procedure Act, or APA. When it comes to big changes, we have some federal agencies that are trying to skip a crucial step. The APA is like a law book. It tells agencies how to create, change, and destroy regulations. You have to let the public weigh in. Here's how it works. You take an agency like the OPM, they want to propose a new rule like Schedule F, like we were just talking about. They have to publish that on the Federal Register. They have to open up a period of time where the public can comment. People like you, me, your cousin, your friends, whoever, anyone can comment. This period is usually 30 days. It can be extended to 60 or 90 days. And this is Section 553 of the APA. It's a cornerstone of democratic accountability. The APA says federal agencies have to let the public weigh in. But there are some exceptions. And agencies are leaning hard on these exceptions, mainly 3: military, foreign affairs, or management issues. If it falls under one of those categories, they can bypass this. Take the State Department. In a recent Federal Register bulletin, Secretary Marco Rubio cited President Trump's Executive Order 14150 to claim he can decide whether an agency's action falls under the foreign affairs exception. What does that cover? Pretty much everything: immigration, trade, border security, data transfers. He's essentially saying he doesn't have to open things up for public comment. He can just make the decision. Why does this matter? Because skipping notice and comments, it cuts the public out of decisions like this. The public should be involved. Regardless of how much you weigh their decision, you should at least allow their voice to be heard. Without public input, you're going to miss out on industry experts' perspective, or just the perspective of the everyday citizen. During Trump's first administration, federal agencies lost 26 court challenges related to bypassing notice and comment. Courts take this stuff seriously because at the end of the day, it's about transparency and accountability. And that's pretty much what all citizens in this country expect from their government. It's not just the Department of State, it's also Health and Human Services, and other agencies could be following suit. Now, if you want to submit a public comment, all you got to do is go to regulations.gov, use the search bar to enter the keywords or an agency by name, open the docket page. Click on the comment button and you can type up a message. You can upload a file like a PDF or a Word document. That's one of the ways you can allow your voice to be heard. Now, in addition to this, we have some updates regarding the federal benefit cuts that are taking place in Congress right now. There's some good news, but there's a lot more bad news. If you're interested in that, check this video out next. Stay updated by signing up to the free newsletter down below. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.